Um, I don't know when more people will be joining. So we will just wait a couple minutes till more people join. I think they're playing with a box right now.
Box. Cats in boxes.
Well, the most recent one, Montero, he doesn't know how like the door works in the litter box. So like he'll constantly, because his like eye vision is off, he constantly scratches the wall of it instead of the actual door. So it takes him a minute. Orion.
Mark.
Mark.
Yeah.
Oh God, is this really my mom that joined? I don't know.
Your mother?
Yeah, my mom is very supportive. She's at bingo
Okay.
right now, so I'd be really surprised if she's joining.
That's so wholesome. Bingo. That's adorable.
I'm telling
Oh yeah,
you.
bingo at the casino. She's
Oh, okay. At the casino. It's not church bingo.
Oh no, she does it at camp. She does camp bingo all the time. Oh, Poppy was just over here.
My little baby.
Aww. Baby's name.
Aww.
Little poof.
Fluffy. Fluffy.
So cute. One.
Okay, go back to sleep.
Oh, there they are.
What?
They're being crazy. All right, let's see.
61.
I guess I'm gonna, I don't know, hope that my boyfriend gets out of the shower in 2 seconds. Because all I hear is the shower running, and I'm sure everybody else can. So, let me see.
She can't hear it.
Oh, thank God. It's like right here. So, oh, Poppy, come here.
Oh.
This is my baby. Oh. Not his brother. His brother came out of his hiding spot. Oh, why you gotta sidetrack? So mean to him. Like, come here, baby. This is the other one.
Aww.
He doesn't like to be the center of attention. Like Papacito. No.
Hey, Bubba's. What's up? Oh, you want to play?
Sorry, I'm just waiting for a little more people to come. I guess I'll play right here. Well, I guess we might as well just start. So I really appreciate everybody being here. It's been a long year. I think it's been exactly a year since I had my last event. So it's been very, very long. um, so I'll start off by saying we're gonna do name, pronouns, and where you're from. And if you are correlated with any organizations, leather, bear, etc. So I am Kylar Maldonado. I am Mr. Connecticut Bear 2021, well, 2020 to 21 as of this year. And I'm Connecticut. I am part of the organization Northeast Ursamen, based here in Connecticut, but we do Mass, Rhode Island, etc. So yeah, I welcome you all and appreciate you all being here. And I didn't discuss this, but whatever order anybody wants to go, who wants to talk, can go. I feel like we got enough people to figure that out. So whoever wants to go next would be great.
Sure, I'll go next. Dan Soto. I held Mr. Los Angeles Leather Bear 2017. The club itself is a representation of Bears LA, which is a Bears organization here in Los Angeles that was founded in 1993. And then current clubs that I'm a part of are Los Angeles Band of Brothers, Avatar LA, and Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. I think those are the ones that come top of my head. And Avatar LA. And then pronouns, he, him, they, them.
He, him for myself also. Well, I'll call people, I guess. Eric, do you want to go next?
Okay. Yes. Hi, I'm Eric Crow, currently Mr. Long Beach Leather 2019 and 2020. Formerly a Mr. San Diego Bear 2003. So I have a number of cities that I've called home. My pronouns are he, him, his. And the current clubs that I belong to are the 15 Association out of San Francisco, the oldest fraternity, the oldest BDSM fraternity on the West Coast, and also Mama's Family, though that's kind of not much is happening with them lately. And not currently a member of Bear San Diego, but being a title holder kind of sort of makes you one forever.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Tammy, do you want to go by Tammy or do you want to go by your full name?
Either one is fine. My turn.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm Tamaneva, or Tammy Eden-McLintock, and I have a couple of titles. I am Miss Cinco de Mayo 2016 for the Imperial Court de San Diego, the Queen's Court. I'm also Miss San Diego Leather 2017, and I'm Miss Goldilocks San Diego 2018, which is part of the bear community here in town, San Diego Bears. As far as pronouns go, female pronouns are fine, she, her, etc. As far as my current clubs, I am a member of Mama's Family. I'm a member of Bear San Diego, Self Untitled Sisters, Self Pink Sisterhood, San Diego Girls in Leather, Club X. I think that's everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Hope I didn't leave one out.
All right, Nikk.
All right. My name's Nikk Cochran Selik. My pronouns are he, him. And I'm honestly relatively new to the bear community, relatively speaking. I got my first title, Mr. Campit Bear 2020. And I mentioned earlier, but Campit is an LGBTQ camp resort in Michigan that I've been going to for several years. I live in Chicago, and obviously there's not much happening amidst the pandemic, so I'm glad you're doing this, Kylar, as well, this event. But yeah, definitely once things get going again, I'm definitely going to be getting out there more and like competing for more titles and stuff regionally, I think. So yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. And now Joe.
Hi,
Hi,
I'm
Joe.
Joe. I don't really care about pronouns. I'm the founder of the Northeast Ursamen, member of the Spartan Motorcycle Club. I don't think I won a title. I think I was in a bear contest back in 1990, New England Bear. I organized like 15 of them.
Oh wow.
New England, Mr. New England Bears, Mr. San Francisco Bear, Bear Expo.
Oh,
I'm more of a organizational guy than that's about it for me. I live in Portland, Oregon now. There's no bear club here. I just keep my ear to the community and see how it's doing. It's evolving out here.
Definitely is. So because me and you are both correlated with the Northeast Ursamen, would you like to tell me or tell everybody about how they came about to be a organization?
Yeah, I could tell you that. I used to be a member of the Hartford Colts. I don't know if I don't think they're in existence anymore, but I just gotten out of the military. I was running a dairy farm and had no outlet for masculine hirsute. Everything was either leather or drag, and in between was, I don't know what would be the term would be, twinks, I guess. I don't know. So I left the Hartford Colts and started a bear club with 5 other guys. Bill Sanderson had just started the New England Bears with Andy like 2 weeks prior. I said, that's a good idea. Let's get it going. And the 5 of us all got together, Terry Mazurkowitz, David Land, Roger Schroeder, and later on came Kevin Ball and a few others. And we all got together and we encompassed all of the states. And it was nice. We rotated events from state to state. We'd have something in Mass, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. So we tried to include everybody, and people came out of the woodwork because it was something that nobody was doing. It was just starting. It was in its infancy. This was back in 92, I think. Yeah, 92. And then, we had monthly meetings and we had a blast, a bunch of potlucks. And that's pretty much how it started.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate like the fact that the organization is still up and running. I'm sure it's definitely changed between 20-something, 25 years ago plus years ago to now. I mean, I'm 20, well, I'm going to be 24. So
I literally am wearing a t-shirt older than you.
I've been told. When I won my title, people would tell me that. I'm like,
okay.
I have one of the first Ursamen t-shirts that we printed off when we started the club. It's that logo down here.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, I see it. So I really appreciate the organization existing. It's definitely something that I hold to heart as I work through my title year, and it's constantly something that is going to be changing for the better for everybody. And I believe this organization has a lot of potential, and I hope it lives up to what your hopes are and what everybody else's were, and just gets better from there. So I hope I'm doing you guys proud. And working with Dave Rospo, Greenberg, and quite a few other people in the organization, we are trying to bridge the gap between Connecticut and Mass and Rhode Island and stuff a lot more, because I feel like people see us as more of a Connecticut organization, and we are trying to make it back up to the Northeast, so to say. So I guess we will go with the next one is, so the community basically started going by the name of like bears, otters, cubs, etc. What makes one identify as such then versus now? As in, back then it was seen as bears can only be bears, cubs can only be cubs, etc. Now there are people that, like for me, people will normally see me as a cub, but I identify more so as a bear, and vice versa and such. How do you guys all feel about that, personally? It can go. We'll go with Nikk since you're right under me. I'm going in order of things.
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot like that?
I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, I can.
No, it's fine. I'm just teasing. I mean, okay, so you're gonna ask the new guys. So what? Okay, so my differentiation for like cub and bear, I thought it was more of an age thing. Like that was my existing concept. Because I'm 32, and people before were like, oh, like in my 20s, I'm like cub. But now it's like, oh, you're a bear, and people are more kind of bear clocking me. So I'm like, all right, have I like crossed the line now? Am I bear graduated? I don't know. Like, I was trying to do a pun there, it didn't work. But yeah, like, so to me, it was always an age thing. That's one take on it.
Okay.
All right. Oh.
Okay.
So for me, it's always been a mindset that I started as a cub and spent maybe a good 2-3 years in that headspace, but then moved over to bear or daddy bear a few years later. And there's even places where you can comfortably be both. You can be a daddy that has cub tendencies, or you can be a cub that has daddy tendencies, or bear tendencies. And yeah, it really is a mindset. To me, cubs are more playful, which is not to say the bears aren't, because I know plenty of bears that are playful, but it's more playful, more outgoing, more rambunctious, kind of the ones that like to get in trouble, like to get in good trouble, usually when there's no clothes on and all that, or sometimes doesn't matter. And the daddies or the bears are the nurturers, so to speak. The ones that the cubs look up to. But you can have a relationship where the cub is in his 50s and the bear is in his 30s. It is open to interpretation.
Tammy?
Can't speak for all of my brothers here in San Diego, but as a generalization, I know for San Diego bears, there's different ones based off of how much hair they have, their size, their age, their mindset. So we have otters, we have wolves, we have leather bears, we have regular bears, and then you have people like me who are supportive and adjacent. So I'm a Goldilocks. I'm a female, although I'm a large size female, and I kind of have a mama bear personality. So I'm here to support and be more nurturing. Back in my day, because I'm almost 48, they used to call us the hag. And now, we have a nicer term, we're Goldilocks, and I would much rather be a Goldilocks. So I'm just here to support and advocate and whatnot for my bear brothers. But, even a Goldilocks, we have our own little bear traits as well.
All right, and Joe?
Okay. First, let me premise this by saying this community has grown so much since the early 90s. Now, that being said, remember, it really, for me and others, back in the early 90s, started as a blue-collar movement. Even at the Lone Star, in one corner, it was the ambush back then. In one corner, it was the good old boys. These were, the rednecks, so to speak. And even with the Northeast Ursa men, everybody was blue collar, and that's what it was moving forward. And I remember, and I know one of the guys here lived in San Francisco, and he can attest to this. around I used to work for Brush Creek Media, Bear Magazine, and right around the mid 90s, there was a phase where work shirts and coveralls were very popular. You'd have somebody's name tag on, but it wasn't yours. You were a IT manager or a system manager, but you had on an HVAC guy's suit. You know what I mean? You were presenting yourself as a blue collar being because that's what was sexualized in the paper novels that we would read. You know, you'd be messing around with the truck driver or the repairman or, you know, the mechanic. And that's moved on, thankfully. So I want to say it's not toxic masculinity, but it was based in a very masculine world, you know, and it's, you know, as we can attest, it's evolved a lot since then.
Yes, sir. Dan?
It was, to me, it's interesting because I guess I started as like a go-go bear, and so I would dance at clubs when I was 21, which is when I was like introduced to the whole concept, and I had no idea of what bears, cubs, and all that stuff was, but I came into it and was like fully embraced. I was like, oh, you can be cute and chubby and like people will find you attractive, so it was really cool for me. But I mean, I guess technically when I started, I was a cub, but everyone just called me like little bear or baby bear because I was the youngest out of the crew and I was like the smallest out of all the bears in our group. So this idea of like you have to be young to be a cub and like older to be a bear never really like resonated with me because everyone called me something different along that spectrum. And so I just kind of like embraced it all as like however you wanted to like address me, like I'm all for it, right? And then as I like grew into myself and just kind of explored a little bit more and became more of like more involved with like different bear organizations, I understood, you know, a little bit about like the history and where that came from, but also why some individuals prefer to be called bears or cubs. And then one day I remember I was just joking with like a friend and I was like, you know what? I'm way too fabulous to be a cub or a bear. Like I'm a mink. And this whole like thing came around. I was like, oh my God, Dan's a mink. I was like, cause he's just way too fabulous to be a cub and a bear. And that's why I like loved what Eric said about it being a mindset. Cause it truly really is. About being a mindset and what feels comfortable to you and what feels comfortable for others to address you as. So that's kind of like my take of like the cub and bear like labels, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
If I could segue off of what Joe was saying, that yeah, in fact, the bear look or the bear archetype is a direct response to against toxic masculinity. In fact, as I had been reading in my bear history, there came a time when MSN videos outside of Kansas City Trucking Company and things like the Joe Gage films, people wanted to put those on, but the people that were the straight men that were in charge of porn production in the 70s would only cast a gay man if they looked like a slender woman. And today, you know, today nothing wrong with that. But you know, if you're not that, you're not that. And so it just became something of let's try to get representation for everybody where they sit on the spectrum currently.
Well, see, I honestly am still learning a bit of the history myself. As like I said, I'm very young. I was introduced into the bear community probably when 18, 19. And yeah, it was definitely, at first I felt I was a cub because I felt like I was forced to be that, as you were saying, as everybody was saying about like the age and such. But I don't know, I've always felt more in line with the bear side, being heavier, being I don't even know. It's like you said, it's not even about looks. It's about how I feel, and I don't know. Bear has been something that's been very close to me. Cub just never really felt right. I felt it was not good for me. I don't know. Something that was very vital in learning and becoming, in my opinion, and being part of the bear community is knowing what the bear flag is. So, does anybody know what that is? Does anybody not
I
know?
do. Paul, well, it depends. Are you a Craig or a Paul guy?
Yeah, I was,
Okay.
I was going to say, does anybody know that whole thing, the Craig and the Paul situation?
So I'm a Paul guy.
Okay.
Um, I believe, is the one that came up with the first design.
Okay.
Craig, on the other hand, was the first one with that trademark.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Gotcha. So, do you want to explain like what the or do you know when Paul had originally come up with this? Like, do you know the time frame?
Well, I got one on the, hold on. You tell you what, you tell these guys the history. Let me go grab one of these stickers off the fridge.
All right, no problem. So, from what I've talked to Craig, and I've done some research, and that I was able to find, because I haven't talked to Paul, was that the bear flag was created in the 90s, around the year I was born, 96, 97. It was when it became very public. So the bear flag is rather new in perspective of the bear community. And Joe, did you end up finding the flag?
I did. Okay, so right around this time,
Mm-hmm.
people were coming up with things like this. This is one of the very first banners that we were wrapping ourselves around. And this one was for solidarity for HIV, because it had the plague was like at its peak.
Mm-hmm.
And these were the very first symbols of it coming out, that flag. And ultimately they ended up with just the red ribbon and the stripe. I got a couple of paintings of the guy that did the commemorative stamp. I can't remember his name. It's Jeff something. Anyway, Paul was working on something, because everybody was working on something at that time. The gay flag wasn't quite a rainbow yet, and there was no bear flag and no leather flag. So they were all starting to come together with this stripe thing in like early 90s, And Paul came up with it, and like I said, it all depends on whose team you're on. But every time I edit the wiki page, about 2 days later, I get the notification that it's been changed, and I still do it. I still change it.
Yeah, the bear. That's what my problem was when I like first looked into this. Like I heard about the bear flag when I first. So I had Craig reach out to me when I first. Sorry, my cat was very loud for a second. When Craig reached out to me to tell me about the bear flag when I first won, and there's mixed stories, like you said, team Paul versus Craig, and
Right, because a German company later assumed the copyright or the trademark and started producing all these graphics for money.
Right.
It was a whole mess. Yeah.
Exactly. I literally I wrote this giant thing about it, and there was constant erasing and editing and all that to try to figure out what's valid, like what came first and all that. But I know there's like a solid meaning for like each like why the stripes are what they are. Does anybody know what the colors represent?
They're supposed to represent the nationalities and skin tones of bears. So, and it runs the spectrum from black to white. As you can represent that on a flag. Yeah.
Great. I've there was one time somebody was actually asked this, and it was during my title contest, and somebody was actually asked this, and he said that it had to do with what was it, like the earth tones with having to be like where you're located, and I don't know I don't know
I
what
don't know.
if where that could be found, if he actually knows now. But yeah, the bear flag is something that I carry proudly. I have like 2 or 3 of them in my house. I usually have one in my car, but I've been switching in between cars and such. So I usually have flags, trans, gay, and there's a leather one somewhere in my house. But yeah, I have a few. Does anybody else have flags? Yay!
Always about
actually-
my desk.
I don't
I
have
have,
my flag, but
I have these. I have these.
Nice.
Yeah.
my
So
flag's
it's all
somewhere.
about representation, yeah. It's something that represents a group of people.
Exactly. I don't know. Some people don't have them, and some people do. And I just happen. My last apartment used to be like wall to wall with different kinds of flags and such. So I don't know. It makes me feel great to know that these were created to help identify different groups and people in walks of life and different phases in history. So it's kind of my favorite thing.
Well, I mean, and that's sort of the thing, is that there are many flags now.
Yeah.
And to me, the more flags you have, the more that's a good sign, because the more flags you have, the more people will come in and not only find themselves in a flag, but may want to branch off and create another flag.
Right.
Too much of something is a good thing in this case. Because if you're gonna wind your way through life, and you should be able to find people that are like you, however you want it to be, and just identify, associate wherever that is. That's a human right, a human need too.
Right.
And also, it's what you're touching on. I think is just intersectionality, and I think that's a big principle that the bear community is like built upon. We're not all the same. There's many different types of people, and like I'm a trans bear. I don't know if there's a flag for that. Maybe I should make one. But like I don't know. I've been in like every kind of like flag, and I don't know. Now I've settled on like the trans flag, but I've got like gay flag, bear flag. But they all kind of represent facets of me as well. So
Exactly. It's on my title vest. I have a whole bunch of pins and stuff. Some with pronouns, some with like my like trans flag. I have all my other like title friends and family, and as everybody's mentioned about like the flags and showing that the more flags you have, the more open you are, so to say. Like that's how I feel with my pins too, because then people feel safe talking to me about certain things. If I have a trans flag on, I feel like more people can come and talk to me, and because as somebody who is rather I'm privileged to say like I am cis passing, straight passing, white passing, all that stuff. But so when I don't have these pins that have the flags and such, I feel like people can't like connect with me in certain aspects. Like I feel worried talking about certain things. So I always feel like I have to have something. So having the flags exist on my chest at events and stuff really matters to me. So it definitely brings people together. So I really like it. So we'll go to we kind of answered about how we all kind of got involved in the bear community. So who are the current title holders again? Like current reigning?
yeah.
All right, so that's 3. I just want to ask real quick, how have you been with coping through the pandemic as far as your title year? Just a quick snippet on it. Nikk or Eric?
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, I got it
you go
during the
first.
pandemic. Like, it was just going to Campit, and it was kind of, I don't know. I guess it was kind of a weird time to like win a title, but we did it as safely as possible. Of course,
Mm.
luckily everything was fine. But I'm really trying to like kind of take that platform and with the organization I want it through. Just well, I'm hosting a trans week at Campit in June, so just kind of trying to take that and reach out to all the communities through that title.
Awesome. Eric, how was it?
I got Mr. Long Beach in September 2019. There's the kitty. I got that in September 2019, and I got exactly halfway through to the day with my year. And then we found out in California that the bars and everything were being shut down. So I was a little bit scrambled to find things to do and ways to connect, and how to keep doing my job, as it were. It has not been the easiest transition, just because I'm like a lot of other people. I'm more online. I'm more in person than online. But you find a way to update yourself. So I would participate in as many Zoom meetings or Zoom discussions as I felt like I wanted to do. And being that when I was involved with Bear San Diego, or in my time in the San Diego community, a lot of it was with newsletters and doing things online. That was one area where that I could incorporate. And so you have Language of Love, which I started in March, and it's going to be going through pretty much throughout the year, but it is a transition magazine, because as we open up, we are going to need to talk about things like healing and moving forward. And I think that's a good way to like bring it current and bring it forward and move it forward.
There you go.
As far as like personally coping with it, fortunately, I've had a lot of friends to talk to, and I have a very, very vivid imagination. So lots of paper has been used writing out things. But just like everybody else, I miss y'all, and I can't wait to see you all and give y'all big hugs.
I am a big hugger, so I will take you up on that. As you were saying that you are very in-person, kind of title holder in person, just person in general, I feel that too. I have not, like I said, this is my first event really in the past year, and I did a lot my first, I got my title September, August, September also. So like um, I did a lot. I used to go out every day, maybe 5 days a week. I traveled a lot to Delaware, Pennsylvania, New York, Mass, etc. like all the time for my title. And it's to like with COVID, just kind of shutting everything down, just kind of stopped it for me a little bit. I didn't feel like I could contribute online, but I feel like I've kind of gotten a grasp of my stuff going on and can do this. That's why the panel exists. I felt like a lot of people I talked to about my title, since things kind of shut down, they don't understand what being a bear is. They don't understand what a bear title holder does. How am I dealing with COVID and being a title holder and stuff? So I kind of felt like it was the perfect setting to kind of answer those questions and such. So, but before this, I used to a year ago, as of March, I did a S&M dinner, spaghetti and meatballs. I did it with my Sash granddad / my Sash brother. He's also currently he's Mr. Connecticut Bear 2017, but he's also Mr. Connecticut Leather 2020/2021. So we did that together. We had drag queens, all of us hanging out, eating like a nice spaghetti meatball dinner at an awesome location that I used to be scared of when I was younger. It was hosted at a Polish club that I felt that my grandparents go to. My grandparents and I aren't really on speaking terms. They still think like me being a gay trans man is just me being a straight girl. So it was really empowering for me a year ago to be able to host an event at a place that I used to be scared of, and filled with people I care about and love. I had Leathermen everywhere. I had just big burly men hugging me, kissing me, hugging my mom. Like I just a lot of people. My straight brother like handing me dollar bills as I'm performing as a drag queen for the first time. I did the whole like bearded drag queen thing for a day. As a fundraiser, we did as body hair is really important to me. I'm very, very, very hairy. This doesn't do justice, but I raised money to shave my head, and then like 2 weeks later I trimmed all my beard off because I felt like I felt like I needed to do something a little more. Yeah, I haven't been completely shaven in years, so it was a big thing. So that's one of my biggest events that I did. That was really awesome. But what have you guys during your titles, or even if you haven't held a title, like such as other bear-oriented events, what have you guys done that you feel like it was the most impactful, like to you or to your community?
So I come from a title circuit in Los Angeles, so we have all the feeder contests that feed into the Mr. Los Angeles leather contest. So I won one of the feeders that feeds into that one, and so it was really interesting because when I won, a lot of people like hyped me up, and I honestly didn't think I was gonna win. I wasn't like this big like person in the bear community. I actually did a lot of philanthropy with the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. And so like my name, which is what people usually call me by, which is Bam Bam, that's my sister name, so Sister Bam Bam. But I remember when I competed, I tried so hard to separate that because I didn't want like my like drag persona to like kind of filter into like my drag and like my very like male presenting persona, which is how like I thought of things back then. And then I realized like at the end of the day, like Bam Bam was just like a representation of like the person that I give to like my community. And so so I kind of learned to just like embrace it, and it made me just have more fun with it. And so I remember I competed with a very good friend of mine, which is Francisco, who's a current title holder, who's gonna run in the Mr. Los Angeles Leather Contest whenever we have it again, which is next year, hopefully, crossing my fingers. But I remember like just wanting to be so unapologetically like representing like bears. And I remember having like my shirt off whenever I could because, you know, I had a belly. And I remember everyone would joke around like, oh, I have to go to the gym to like, you know, get ready for you know, for LA Leather. And I was like, well, I'm going to go to the buffet to get ready for LA Leather. And so it was just really, really funny because like our mentalities were so different. And before the actual event, I threw my first event as like for my title, which was an Easter event because it fell on Easter, and I called it Bear's Erection. It was like Jesus breaking off of a cross with like a head with like a bear head on it, and so like a play on word like resurrection, Bear's erection, the bear has an erection, and so we just like had a good time. We did it at the Bullet. We had like a hunky Jesus contest, and then I had everyone like write out like papers of what they have been like either stigmatized from or like an insecurity. And so I had like no fats, no femmes, and then other people had like no drag queens, or like depending on like the race, they wrote something that they've ever been like stigmatized for. So it was very like empowering and liberating, and I just wanted people to just kind of like take back the things that that kind of like they were scared of or they've kind of been pushed aside for in the community. And so that was like one of my first events. And then I did more of like a raunchy event, which I can't even remember the name of because I think everyone was too busy having fun. But yeah, it was interesting to hear that, you know, about your drag performance, because I have two younger twin brothers, and we're all gay. All the boys in my family are gay, and of course we all do drag in one capacity or another. And so I remember the first, like when I competed for LA Leather, my dad actually showed up, and I remember he sat with like the Bears LA section, and everyone's like, "Who's that cute little bear over there?" And then he would tell me that everyone tried to like hit on him, and I had like my bear family like take care of it. Like, no, that's Dan's dad. He's not gay. Leave that one alone. And it was just so cute for me to like just be me and like half naked on stage talking about like my experience running, you know, with my title, and having like my dad's support there, my brothers. And so I really appreciate you sharing your experience in that capacity, because I know how much like that means and how much that does for you, especially from, you know, from like a traditional like Latino family where like machismo and masculinity is like super like prominent. My dad was just able to just kind of like fully embrace my big gay bear self.
Tammy?
I had a couple come to mind while I've been listening to everything. So when I was running for Miss San Diego Leather, my fantasy was basically the theme of why Goldilocks got kicked on the Build-A-Bear. And you can imagine, you know, too big, too small, just right, things like that. And it was actually what I think caused some of my bear brothers to come to me after that contest going, hey, when that year's done, why don't you come work for us? So that's kind of what got me into working with SD Bears. And while I've been part of San Diego Bears, I did a silent toy drive as Miss Goldilocks. So because I tend to be more of the quiet, shy observer in the corner, rather than post it all over the place and whatnot, I let my brothers do their things and their fundraisers, and I silently went behind the scenes and taught the people. So when it came time to do one of our toy drives in December, I showed up with bags of 130, I believe, toys for children to contribute. Another thing was I became a judge for a lot of the contests. So being on both sides of the coin, especially with my bear brothers, I've gotten to be known as the scary judge for some reason, even though I'm trying to be warm and friendly.
You?
And my favorite bear moment, I think, has been we had a chili cook-off right before all the shutdowns, right before all the COVID things. And being the girl in the group and being the one who won.
Yes. I will have to take you up on that because I'm absolutely in love with chili. That's my like favorite food ever. So
I'll send you the recipe.
Oh, please. Joe, so any bear-oriented events that you really enjoyed hosting and meant a lot to you? Can you?
Sorry, I'm trying to work out this technology. Let's see. My first one, Mr. Bear New England, I think it was 1993. That was fun. And then I organized a whole bunch. Mr. Southern Bear, because I used to be a member of the Atlanta Bears as well when I moved from Connecticut, went with the Atlanta Bears. They had a fun contest. When we were doing Bear Expo in San Francisco, this is pre-Bear Rendezvous. There was a weird split, a lot of drama, blah, blah, blah. That was a really fun bear contest. As I said, I've only been in one bear contest. Oh gee, I wish I could find it for you. I had it queued up. Maybe I'll share it a little bit later. You'll see a 30-year-old me wearing one of those sashes and doing all that stuff. It's a fun time, but the most important thing about it and why I enjoyed helping to organize these things is that it really brings the community together. I mean, nothing's more fun than sitting there judging other people with a beer in your hand while they're I'm joking. I can remember. But it's a fun time, and it raises a lot of money for good charities. No matter what the organization, there's always an offshoot that's going to benefit from it.
Mm.
So that's why I enjoy doing
Awesome. And then Nick.
Yeah, well, I kind of brought up that I'm going to do Trans Week at Campit. So I did want to bring that up because that's kind of a big thing. Just because with there's been a bit of drama in the gay camp scene in Michigan, believe it or not. I didn't even know there was enough to be a scene. And by the way, I live in Chicago, but Michigan is my home state. But not too far. So basically there was Campit that's been around for a while. I think since like the 80s at least, or 90s. But yeah, it's been around for a while. A new campground's opening up in Michigan that didn't want like trans men to be there. And they put out this whole statement. So kind of in response, because with the title and with all the visibility in the community, like I said, I was like, we need to do this Trans Week at Campit, and we're having an entire week like dedicated to just kind of opening up this space and like for the trans community, like we're welcoming space. We're also going to all the bear events this summer. I'm vaccinated, finally fully vaccinated.
Yay.
Oh, girl, it's been a year. But yeah, so we're actually going, my husband and I are going next week to Campit. So that's going to be the first, it's Out of Hibernation is the event. So we're really looking forward to seeing everybody again and kind of kicking it off with the cool bear event, which by the way includes drag queens, which my husband is one of the queens performing, also a bearded drag queen. Yeah.
Hey.
I tried, I drabbled, I called it, like, I was never good at wearing a dress or makeup, and I tried it now after I transitioned, 12 years later. I'm like, I'm still bad at it, so I'll stick to the original plan. But yeah, so I'm just gonna play guitar and he's gonna do all the drag stuff, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
That was really awesome. I know Dan had mentioned about being half naked on the stage in front of his parents or his dad. And yeah, I definitely, I had my mom at my contest, and during my hot bear look, I actually went out. It was considered controversial, so I want to see what you guys' opinions is on this too. I went out for my hot bear look. It's not really that controversial. Don't.
Hyping it up. Yeah.
So like the common like hot bear look that I was told to like my ideas was like the lumberjack, the overly masculine like hot things, and when you think of like a hot bear, and I decided that I wanted to go out in my leather pup stuff. So because that is something my whole title is like a whole like intersectionality between all identities, and being Latino, queer, trans, all that like fun stuff, like leather, like all that is very important to me, and so I wanted to finally show that off during my contest. And I had I gone up there. So the quick thing is my mom saw my ass on stage. She's seen it get flogged at events. She's seen I did I did there was a birthday bash for me that a daddy in the area hosted at Kink Night, and everybody decided to come and flog me, and my mom was like, nope. She was like, I made that ass, but I am not watching this. So back to this on stage thing. I did a hot bear look as a leather pup, and I actually during my contest got like points not taken off, but like I didn't get the full amount of points or whatever. I got very low score on that because leather does not go with bears. So
Oh, okay.
this is
Big time. Raise my hand. I'll wait till you're done. Yeah, big time. No, go ahead.
I felt like that was a kind of nice little segue to be like, what is everybody's opinion on this? I do not want it to get like heated. I don't want anybody to be like, no, this is like a lovely discussion about again, do leather bears exist?
Yes. I will kick that off. I have always been a leather bear.
Okay.
I came into the bear community and the leather community within 6 months,
Yep.
and I had my first bear sex and my first leather sex within like 2 weeks. It's always been a hybrid for me. And I didn't identify with the word leather bear, I would say, until a couple of years after, but I always was in both camps. And then came the day when somebody in my bear club, when I told him that, he said, "You can't be a bear. You can't be a leather bear. They don't exist." And I was like, "You're looking at me." And that is the whole thing. That it's like sometimes the identity becomes a trick, becomes like a what's the word I'm looking for? A typecast, so to speak, where if you identify as like a bear, somehow you're not supposed to be able to identify as other things. And I always work to buck that system. Today, it's as common to hear, it's so common to hear somebody say they're a leather bear. It almost borders on good cliche. But they both have to do with image, and specifically how I feel in my own skin. And I feel in my own skin best when I am in bear space or pub space. And I have a vest on, or I have gear on, and I'm showing my fur, showing off my fur. And it's always been that way. It's always going to be that way. Nobody can tell you anything. Unless you agree with it.
Tammy?
I think for me, oh, go ahead. I'll let you go.
I was just going to say, so I find it interesting that they did that, having been a judge, because in my mind, if it said hot wear or hot bear or however they labeled it, it's what you interpreted as that.
Right.
So it could be anything. Perhaps they have certain parameters and certain expectations, and I hope they explained that beforehand so you would know. But even if they didn't, at least out here in San Diego, when it says, hot wear, it's what makes you feel hot, what makes you feel sexy. So if you want to be a polka dotted puppy, whatever it is, what made you feel, hot and juicy, that's what I would have gone off of. But kudos about the family, because my parents are the same way. They're highly supportive. Mom has gone to everything. The puppies have adopted her. It's crazy. So yes, kudos when you can get your family in on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for me it's funny because my title is literally like Los Angeles Leather Bear, and so by like definition, my title both encompasses the bear and the leather community. So I've always found that really interesting when because that's the reason why I even decided to run for this title. Like I think of all the other like 10 to 12 titles in LA that go into LA Leather, and it's like they're either bar titles, which would be great if I felt so like strongly about a specific bar, but I love them all, so I can't like fathom representing one. And then there's like specific like organizations where I just didn't see myself fitting in, and Leather Bear was the only title that I felt represented that intersectionality of like leather and bear for me. So I was like, this is the one, this is the only one. I'm like, this is the only time I'm gonna run for it, because I feel like all the stars are like aligned. And again, I didn't think I was gonna win. I just kind of like did it, and then I won, and I was like, oh shit, like what's next? But after that, I didn't realize how many people actually did feel that way, of like not either being leather enough or not being bear enough. And I think there were certain people that embraced it but didn't necessarily look the way people identified with. So whenever they would see a leather bear or whatever, they would see this like masculine, like buff muscle bear wearing like a harness or a vest, right? They wouldn't see this chubby 5 foot nothing brown Latino boy in a harness, you know, like representing that. And so I think again, this representation of it for so much more than like cis white men wasn't there. And so I think that's what really made me kind of appreciate it. And like now, the current LA Leather Bear is another like chubby Latino boy, which I love that, you know, we've had a chubby black boy previously. And it's like, it's just been really beautiful to see more leather bears of different races and colors kind of like show up and show out and just be like unapologetically them. Like it's been such a beauty. And not to say that I started that, but it's been so nice to see more of it in the years past me, and not just on my title, but other titles as well. And so I'm really grateful that you did your pup thing, because I love that. I love that people are able to like represent all the facets of them, not just the ones that are acceptable or palatable to people, because like that's how we grow as a community, and that's how we move forward and tell people like, no, this is okay, but the thinking of why it wasn't okay is now allowing us to have like a teachable moment from that.
Joe, how do you feel about leather bear? Do they exist? Oh, your volume's we can't hear you.
Sorry about that. I try to keep it mute when I'm not talking in that way. You don't hear anything obnoxious. There's two of them in the room right now, so yes.
Right.
But it's just another example of how things evolve. You know, everything becomes more than what it started. It all transitions. You guys are so fortunate to be part of a community now that is so much more accepting and accepted. We have trans bears. For me, that's a giant leap for me. Because I didn't even know, you know what I mean? So as long as you keep moving forward like that and keep escaping people's tendency to put you in that little box, it'll be great. You just serve your community, you know, and bring everybody forward with you. So you guys are doing great. So yes, leather bears exist, trans bears exist, old fogey bears exist. We're still here. So that's how I feel about it.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, Nikk, how do you agree with everybody?
Well, yes, of course, I agree with everything that was said. And I don't know, I'm kind of comparing like Chicago's leather / bear scene, because I feel like they very much overlap here. And I'm like, well, man, we got to be out in LA where there's 12 different fucking bear contests. Jeez. You said 12. I was like, oh my God, we don't have anything. We had like IML, but we didn't have that, of course, during COVID. But anyways, yeah, leather bears always hand in hand in Chicago, I feel like. Personally, I'm leather adjacent. I don't really consider myself in the leather community, but I like know a lot of people that are, and I'm not, I don't know. But definitely more. I'm just more of a bear. Like we were talking about our flags. Like my flag would be like trans, bear, gay. Like that's kind of my shtick. Yeah, but I'm all for hybrid identities or communities, intersectionality, like all of that. I support that. Whatever makes you feel good, you know. And there's bound to be others that agree and are like you. So.
Something that was brought up that Joe and multiple people have brought up was the trans bears existing, talking, and then like Dan talking about seeing a certain type of like person hold the title or person advertise and such. Like with like, oh, bears are only supposed to look this certain way and stuff. I've personally experienced that, like, at events I've gone to over the years, like I would think certain bear events would only be for the masculine, super muscular, perfectly hairy in all the right places, like events because of their posters, or like same with like fetish events, only seeing a certain like age range. Not, I felt too young to go to such events, even though they're advertised for 21 plus. I was always weird, like cautious about going to such events because of how they were advertised and who their clientele really. I didn't know what they were really going for. And has anybody struggled with this, with feeling like not like too trans, too Latino, too like too vanilla, too etc. Like too feminine, etc. Like too old, too young? Has anybody felt this way? Tammy?
So I have that conundrum when I was in the title and even after, because yes, I am a card-carrying member of Bear San Diego, but there are certain spaces where they really don't want a female or a female identifying person in the space. So I'm limited on what I can attend because I don't want my brothers to be uncomfortable, and I don't want to be uncomfortable. I mean, I'll watch anything, whatever, but I get it that they don't want me there doing that. You know, for example, they have pool parties sometimes, and they always sound like so much fun. And I've been told I can come as long as I stay in the house. Well, then what's the point? So it gets difficult sometimes because I get it. There has to be a limit on what I can attend. Just because of who I am, because of my gender.
I used to be part of a leather family, and we were a very pansexual leather family. We had a cis woman in it. We had like all fluid boys. Like I think it's like I like playing in men's play spaces, but I have more fun in pansexual play spaces just because I feel more comfortable. I feel like everyone is in a very similar mindset. And I tell people all the time, like, if you're more focused on a female like looking at your junk, then you have other issues. I'm like, just if you're able to just have fun in your skin, it creates so many more experiences for you to have. And you know, I'm all about respecting play spaces. Like I'm all about respecting men's spaces, but I'm also like all about empowering spaces where everyone can just come and be. And I think those are the ones that I try to look for or try to support whenever it's possible, because I think whenever we've tried to do events that are like that here, or just in general, I feel like they die out because of a lack of support sometimes. And I try to show up and show out for those specifically so that we can keep having these spaces, even if it's just a few people that show up. Those few people like need those spaces to feel welcomed or to feel seen or to feel like they exist. But yeah, I think inviting you but letting you just stay in the house is like ridiculous. I'm like, just say it's a men's only play space and leave it at that. You know, I feel like it's very kind of like one of those backhanded compliments that I get all the time. Like, you're cute for a chubby guy. It's like, yeah, you're welcome in our spaces, but also like, don't be in our spaces. Just be in adjacent, you know? And it's like, or just be like off to the side. And I'm like, no, just if you're really part of my community, then I'm going to make an effort to make you feel like you're part of my community.
Yeah, that also kind of just the stay in the house. Like, I don't know. And then I'm sitting here being like, so what is it? Like, and I think it's sort of this kind of deep-rooted misogyny that I'm very much trying to work on uprooting within the community. It's like unconscious in a lot of people. But I mean, and to a degree I get it, but then it's like, for someone like me, like, I'll just be frank, like, I have not had like genital surgery, so whatever, I don't intend to. But it's like, you don't have to have sex with me if you don't want to. Like, I don't probably want to have sex with you either, so it's cool. Like, why does it matter? I've seen dicks, I've seen vaginas, I've seen everything. I'm 32 years old. I don't give a shit what you look like. We don't have to necessarily have sex. That's my thing. Like, you know, and it's just like, yeah, like, I get a little riled up about that.
I feel you.
Yeah, it's definitely changed a lot over the like you, Nick, like you were just saying, I haven't had bottom surgery. Do not plan on it. I like having sex the way I've been having sex for years. More options for everybody.
Thank you.
I've experienced going to events that claim that they're like inclusive with like trans people, and I've had people say that they are accepting of me, show up to these events, put their hands in my pants, and then like try making out with me and all that, and then realize what I have, like after spending 5 minutes in my pants for a second, pull it out and run away. And like it's something that we still have a lot to work on, and it's something like you were just saying, we don't have to have sex. It's just like, I don't know. It's just a lot of an issue that still exists between having femme people around, having AFAB people, and etc. Like it's everybody needs to kind of coexist, and we can all communicate.
Well, I'm kind of curious to hear if I could put Dan on the spot again, just because, like, Kylar, you're on the East Coast, I'm in the Midwest, and you're on the West Coast. So I'm just kind of curious if you feel like kind of the climate is a little different for AFAB, like transmasculine or trans men people in the community, or if you have anything on that.
I think in the past few years, I've seen like our trans community really grow. I've seen people become really conscious of inviting and welcoming individuals who are non-binary, who are AFAB, who are transmasculine or transfeminine, and not to say that it hasn't been like a struggle or a fight or a learning curve, but I think the fact that we are working towards that goal is like strides, you know, forward from where we were. I mean, just our I believe he's current. I've like lost track of who's the current title holder or not. I believe Elliot is our current Mr. LA Leather, and yeah, and he's the first trans male to ever compete and win Mr. LA Leather, and so like that was a huge deal for us, because up until then, like a lot of like cis white leathermen who have very specific tastes didn't want that, or didn't want, you know, their traditions being like uprooted, and it's not about taking away people's spaces. It's just about, you know, creating more room for people to like not only like sit at the table, but like actually have a meal and have an opinion and like dialogue. And so I think I remember I was the head handler for all the contestants that year, and I remember just my title year was really shitty in a sense, because some judges asked some very inappropriate questions, and it kind of like pushed forward some progression for like people of color. And so to see my year, which was just 3 years prior, and then to see someone who's a trans male win was like eye-opening, and was like, so it created so much healing in our community too. And so, you know, since then we've had a lot of other spaces and places that are open to having nights and events who are for individuals who are non-binary, who are queer, who are trans, or, you know, fall somewhere in between that spectrum. And I myself I'm queer and fluid, so I consider myself part of like just non-binary. And so that's been a struggle for me, because I'm so male presenting and so masculine presenting that a lot of people don't see me as non-binary, or so that's a struggle that I have, kind of, because I am so cis passing, so male passing. But I think we've definitely progressed a lot more in the past few years. And I'll let Eric talk to that too, because he's part of our community here too, just like your opinions and how you feel and how you've seen things kind of here in LA at least.
Okay. I have three images in my mind that are etched in my mind. One is Los Angeles Leather 2005, where half the contestants were leather bears, or at least had body hair. Then flash forward 5 years later to 2011 International Leather Sir Leather Boy, where there's a whole kerfuffle about women and about trans in that particular circuit. But that year there were women on stage during the group photo, women bootblacks, and just a different variance of things that opened up. And then 2019, the group picture of all the contestants on the stage, that's the third image that's emblazoned in my mind. And that's one of the most fun and memorable contests that I'd been to in the last 5 years, just because it said that it made that statement, it made that statement unapologetically, and it was a defining moment. And so it really, for me, started, along with a couple of other things, was a catalyst for me to do this again. Is because I know what this does for you. I know what this does for a person here, and in other places. But I know what it does, and I know what I just look at people who were not allowed to come to the club before, but can now. I look at how their face lights up. I look at how their heart shows up, because they were invited, and they felt invited, and they took advantage of that. And now we have Elliot, and that's something I don't think I would have expected 20 years ago when I first joined, but it's here now. And, I just want to say, if I have any say about it, it won't be too long before things are reunited.
I've definitely, sorry, Dan, continue.
No, and just to continue, like that image of all the contestants at 2019, it wasn't only powerful because also like Elliot being the first trans individual that won, but also everyone that made up that title class came from, they were either black, brown, so they were all people of color, and then Elliot was white, but Elliot is trans. And so it was just really, really beautiful to see, like, just facets of community that have kind of always been on the outskirts or not always been welcomed in, to make up this like iconic and like groundbreaking class. And it was a really, really beautiful year.
That is really awesome. I am also, so I was 21 when I won my title. I was also not only the youngest /win, but also I was the first trans guy to compete /win that I'm aware of, as far as like competing. But I know I'm the first trans bear to win this title in Connecticut, and also the youngest one nationally or internationally to win a bear title. Youngest trans guy to win a bear title internationally was kind of a big thing, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without the support of not only like people like you guys and people that have made this happen for me and opened the doors for me, but also people that are in my community, people that are part of the Northeast Ursa Men. The Ursa Men have been very open to a lot of what I have to say as far as opening doors for diversity and changing things around to let other people be part of this awesome group and to make a difference in the community. So like you were saying, well, like everybody was saying, with different, like we need more POC, we need more trans people, we need more people of all ages. We need more people from different groups. Like we've got drag queens that are competing, that are coming up to me, telling me that I've influenced them into wanting to compete for my title in a couple years. Like, and went well at the end of the year. Finally, we have a date. We're still finalizing it when our next title contest is. but like I have people from all over that are saying that because of people like me, because of because of people like Elliot or other people that have paved the way, opened doors and created a space and opened the stage to people to be able to partake in being part of the change. And it's really amazing to see where we've come from. It's amazing to be almost 24 and being part of an organization that's older than me and helping create a new not new agenda, but editing it so other people can be involved, and it's really great. So it's really awesome to know where we've kind of all come from and see where we are now, and we wouldn't be here without the people before us. So it's really awesome. So I guess now I don't have any other questions. I feel like I hit the really hard-hitting ones that I felt I really wanted to bring up to not only us, but to the community, to people that are watching. So if any of you guys have questions for each other, or if you guys feel like you didn't get to speak on something that was mentioned earlier, etc., just let me know or talk about it. Audience members can unmute in an orderly fashion or however, and not all unmute at once and start speaking. But if everybody can ask us questions, if something's uncomfortable or you don't want to put somebody on the spot, so to say, and you feel like you really want an answer, let me know and I'll connect you with people, or we'll figure it out. We don't want to put everybody's business out there on blast. I'm very open, but I don't know about everybody else. If everybody else wants to put their business out there.
My business is out there.
Hey, Nikk, you got to come out to Portland. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a leather bear, trans bear out here.
Yep.
The community is huge. So.
I would love to. I've been to Portland, Oregon for a professional development training I work with GLSEN, so Gay Lesbian Education Network. I've been with them since I was 15, so like I went out to Portland for a brief moment. It was great. I want to go back.
Never been.
Sorry. I just wanted to say hi to my brother Donnie, who is listening, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, I do want to say before everybody gets all crazy, if they do even get crazy, I really appreciate everybody on the panel. I really appreciate everybody talking and allowing me to bring everybody together. Like I said, I was very nervous. I still kind of am. As time counts down, I'm getting better. But getting to know everybody, I honestly, I don't know how we all have never talked before, but I'm glad it brought us all together. I really appreciate you guys volunteering your time and helping me out with this, and doing it through Zoom, because I wouldn't have been able to meet you guys any other way, and because of things going on right now. But one day I hope we all get to meet face to face, and like I said, I'm a hugger, so I will definitely need those hugs. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys' help, and yeah, if anybody has any questions.
I am going to pose a question, yes.
Yeah.
So for me, the realization that I was a bear was the second coming out for me. I had a bad year with losing both my parents in a relationship that I thought was the one. And I decided to move back to San Diego to be closer to my friends and family. And I found myself getting caught in the same like gay bubbles before, like the bars and the drag shows and things. And I said to myself as I was standing at a bar one time, I said, well, I didn't come back here just to find better bars. So I began like a little exploration that took me through a very, very good participation with MCC, Metropolitan Community Church, which led me to Bears San Diego. That's where I started to chat chat with people in gay.com. That's how I'm gay.com old. And, you know, and talking to people, and I found the person that would be my gateway into the club. But that was a couple weeks later. It was a 2001 San Diego Gay Pride Parade, and we had all finished, and you wait on the sidelines for other floats to come in, and here comes the Bear Pride float, and I just said fuck it, and I said, go Bears. And everybody in the church choir, because I was part of the church choir, looked at me, and then the organist said, so are you a bear? And I thought for a second, and I said, you know, I think I am. That is about 1/100th of the amount of energy and time it took for me to recognize that about myself, as opposed to when I came out of the closet, which for many of us in my age was a big mess and still is. So yeah, and it is just the recognition that I am gay, but I also have a place that's not just the parades or the bars, that I can find other homes within the community. And so I want to pose that question to the group: and not just with bear, with leather or other identities, is there any second comings out that happens?
How many coming outs are we?
Dot.
Straight girl, straight guy, bi, non-binary, like you name it, I've probably done it. And this is not just for my identities, but for everything else. I've had a lot, so I'm gonna just yeah.
Okay.
Quite a few. And thankfully, I've definitely been accepted by some more than others in all aspects. I've been shunned by the lesbians because I am no longer a lesbian. I've been, like, it's just, there's been a lot. So, but thankfully I found a family in the bear community, leather community, and such. So my coming outs were strange, but they were great, and I wouldn't trade anything for the world, because honestly, my life right now is great. And if I changed any coming outs of those, if I waited longer, if I wasn't forced out at certain times, if all that, like, I probably wouldn't be where I am now, and I'm happy about it. So, anybody else want to talk about their second coming out?
Well, yeah, same with the coming out a lot. Like, which time for me? My friend likes to joke that I took LGBT as a checklist, like, pretty much. Yeah, decided to go through it all. But no, like 10, well, geez, it's been longer than that. So like 10, 15, 20 years ago, like, we didn't really know much about the difference between being a lesbian and like gender identity, and like it was all conflated, right? So like but somehow I've always known since I was 12 years old, so that would have been like, what, 20 years ago, that I was a gay man, even when I was like a 12-year-old girl. I don't know how, I just knew. It took a very roundabout, over the hills, through the woods kind of path to get there. But we're here. I think we're always evolving, right? Identity is always growing and changing. But yeah, like, I think I'm done coming out. Yeah, I would say I'm probably done with that part. Pretty settled. I'm married. Don't plan on not being married. I don't know. Pretty gay. Yeah, and it was weird though, because I was just talking about this with one of my friends, that like there was a point in time where I was like a lesbian, but I was like a closet like gay man. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I didn't know what trans was, but all my friends were gay men, and I loved gay porn, but I was a lesbian. Yeah, so I've always thought I was gay, man, and now I'm here. We can just own it and be ourselves. It's great.
You know how many times I Googled I am a lesbian, but I love gay men? Like, what is my problem?
Right? Yeah.
What about Dan and Tammy?
I think for me, like, I mean, in the realm of bears, because I always thought as a gay man you had to like that like specific archetype of guy, and but I remember even growing up as a kid, I did not like my body hair, so I would shave everything, and I just didn't like that. And so then when I went to college the first time, I even joined a swim team so that I could like have a reason to like shave, and and so I would swim, and I became a really good swimmer. Um, but I was always super embarrassed of it, and so then when I came and like kind of found like the community with bears and realized that it was something that was like celebrated and was found attractive, it made me feel like really comfortable. And so so I just remembered like just thinking like, wow, there are some like really sexy and handsome men with body hair or like hairy, and it's like sexy, and I think I like that. And then I just remember just feeling part of something that I thought was always so shameful. And then that's how I knew that I like loved bears. And like, oh my god, my hairy legs and my hairy chest and my not so hairy butt is like something people like. So so that was great. So I remember just really being happy to kind of find that community that again like celebrated instead of like shamed it, and made me kind of be way more comfortable in my skin. Yeah, that's my little coming out to bear community.
I got lucky. I had open-minded parents. So anytime I was like, hey, I'm bi. Yeah, duh. I'm poly. Duh. I'm leather. What's leather? I explain. Oh, cool. Whatever. I've always been lucky in that my personal family, most of them have been very accepting, especially mom and dad. As far as community-wise, though, the leather community, there are certain stigmas, there are certain stereotypes. So when I ran for my title, I wasn't matching up to a lot of those. So there was kind of a split mix on being accepted and not being accepted. Whereas when I joined the bear community, yeah, even though there's certain spaces I'm not welcome in, like the pool parties and whatnot, as a whole, it was more of a welcoming space for me compared to the other alternative communities. It basically came down to, are you a good person? Are you willing to do good work? Do you want to serve your community? Okay, we welcome you with open arms. And for me, it was very comfortable because I'm part Samoan. So I'm used to guys who are bigger, hairier, and for me, it was instantly like being home. Being an only child, I'm used to having the big cousins who always protected me, and now I have 300 brothers who want to protect me. So it was a great welcoming space to be in, and I'm proud to be one of the bears, and I'm very grateful that they welcomed me and that they accepted me, and then even gave me a title. So hey, I'm in here for the long haul. I am a proud bear. And one of my favorite moments actually involves Eric, who's on here, because there's a photo of us holding a flag together.
Yeah.
And it was an accidental moment for me because I just came to be Goldilocks and hide in the corner, and they needed help. And I happened to have my leather gloves, and I jumped in and helped hold that flag with him.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite moments.
Yeah. Yeah, that particular, that's one of my favorite pictures from that weekend, because it was the 25th anniversary of Bear San Diego as an organization, and we actually got permission to fly the bear flag at where they normally fly the Rainbow Pride flag.
Yes.
Which I've been hearing about that for Leather Pride, but who'd have thought? And so then I found out about this campaign, and apparently, all you had to do is, raise the money, and you could do it. But for what that club meant to me as coming out, when I was coming out, to be able to be there for that moment was, it's just, it gets me.
It's really awesome. I don't know. I feel like there's still like so much in this world that I don't know. Like I know Connecticut's very small. Like I can go from here to there in like an hour, but like I feel like there's so much history outside of Connecticut that I don't know as far as like the bear community, the leather community, etc. Like I feel like that's why I really liked going to MAL the last year that they had it before everything got shut down. Like it was my first time there. I was there to support my Sash brother / granddad, and it felt amazing being a part of something that's been around for a long time and has been able to allow me to be there as a trans title holder, young trans title holder. So it was really awesome to be surrounded by people that know about me and I don't even know about them. Like they're like, "Oh my God, you're this kid." I'm like, "Yeah, I am. I don't know who you are, but thank you." Like they're like, you've encouraged so many of my brothers, sisters, siblings, etc. to go and do this in my community and blah blah blah. And like, I'm just like, I just exist. And but it's good for me. It's great to hear. Like I was KJ, he was Mr. Connecticut Leather's first trans title holder, and a few years back, and he's a really big inspiration to me as far as like my journey and coming out and stuff. And it's just really awesome that I get to be that person to some people, and it's I don't know. It was like I said, back to MAL. Like it was great being surrounded by people that appreciated it. Sorry, this came in like this right here. But it was really great to be part of something that I was finally allowed to be part of, and hi. Oh, okay.
I just want pets. Okay, pet. Okay, you can go now.
Yeah, I don't know why
You can go now.
he meow whispered in my ear. That was so weird. Now he's just licking himself, so that's cool. Don't we wish we can be all bendy like that? No. So yeah, there are tons of people. To the whole COVID thing. Like I was saying, I feel like I know I've probably mentioned this 20 million times. I felt like haven't been contributing to the community, but having you guys all here and hearing me out and speaking to one another and educating the community has made me feel like I have a purpose again. And I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that we all are still doing work, even if we are all far apart. So yeah, it's really awesome. I feel it coming ever since testosterone. I can't cry, but I can start feeling it.
Okay. No, I want to say also one of the communities that I see also coming up into their own is young people. It used to be that you would be part of the regular community until you were in your 30s or even 40s, and you got tired of the drama and all that, and then you came over to the leather community because you found something, you found your home, you found something that excited you, and that's gotten younger and younger with more of my participation, to the point now where we have people that are in position to be the youngest of their title. For me, my son, Alan Gabriel, is the youngest Mr. LA Leather Bear. Wow. in the group. But to just see that the next generation of leather, as has been called, is stepping up, and there's a place for it. There's always been a place for it in my mind, but that there's a place where people can stand.
No, I have to agree with what Eric is saying too, because I remember when I showed up, I was 27 when I won my title. I was the youngest in my title class, and I was the youngest at that time also to hold the LA Leather Bear title. And so it's so funny when Alan comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, great grandpa." I was like, "Oh, oh, this title great grandpa." I was like, "Wow, it's been so long." I was like, I remember when I was the baby, now I'm the grandpa. But it's really nice. Like I'm really grateful for the next generation of folks to like really just come into their own and create these like amazing spaces that, you know, some of us have fought for and haven't been able to like even get a foot through the door, but they've laid the groundwork to have these opportunities to build stuff now. And so I'm really grateful for people like Eric who have been doing the work for years, and then, you know, have created a space for me to come in and kind of like, you know, do my job. And now the next, you know, the next folks that are coming up in the community, it's kind of like really start building on all the work that we've kind of tried to do for all of them. So it's really beautiful to see all that.
I mean, there still is a lot of work that needs to be done.
Oh, for sure.
But it's one poster at a time. It's one picture with a group of POC like friends that you're like, here, I'm at this Pride event. You need to be here too. We're all accepting. Like, it's just it's one post at a time, and I feel like, well, in these days, but it's just a matter of tagging a friend along with us and being like, you'll be accepted here. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, but we have definitely come far from where we were before. So it's really awesome. I don't know. Does anybody else have any other questions? We're all just gonna sit here and chill. It's all good. I understand if we just want to stare at each other. It's great.
I was gonna say, I actually gotta head out because my husband's like, come watch Drag Race. It's about to start. Go down, I know, top 4.
I know they're filming the finale here already.
Oh my God, I need to go see it though. But thank you so much, everybody. I'm gonna dip out right now. I appreciate.
Bye. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. You too.
So yeah, if anybody has any questions, I'm just gonna be chilling here. If you guys are ready to head out, that's up to you. I will be here till 8 o'clock. So
yeah, I'm gonna head out because there's a little bit of sunlight left.
There you go.
So, yeah, this has been so much fun, and thank you for putting it together.
Of course.
See you all soon.
Yay. So I don't know. I really wish you guys weren't so far away.
I was just in Florida, which is where when I checked on the event date, because I was in Florida, it had everything accurate. So I was like, oh great, it'll do it. But then when I came back home, it's like, no, your event's at 3 to 5. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I'm at work at that time. I just had a birthday, so I went out there to Disney World with my best friend.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it was nice. And I'm tired. I'm still like feeling it. I'm still like jet lagged and waking up at like 3 a.m. every day.
Yeah, my friends from Cali were just here. They're doing a documentary on one of my friends. He's for his college thesis, I think it is something. He's doing a documentary called "Someone I Love Is a Sex Worker," and so he came all out here to do some. He interviewed my boyfriend and I, and so it was really cool because we've been Instagram friends for 12 years and we finally got to meet. So it was really cool.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So it was really awesome. And we traveled a little bit. We went to Salem, Mass. And I just want to it felt so good being out of Connecticut for a second. So I definitely miss the whole traveling thing. Have you guys been to IML or World Bear or anything of the sort?
I have not. I was supposed to go to IML last year, and then COVID happened. So I was like, wait, great. Guess it's a no for me. I know that they're doing it this year apparently, but we'll see if I go. It's not really in my list of things to do for this year. Maybe next year.
Mm-hmm. Tammy, did you do anything else with your title? Like, do you plan on doing anything else?
I'm really enjoying the judging side of things now. So I've been head judge for a cub contest and assistant judge for this and that and the other. So that's more my wheelhouse now. Is I'll help people prep for contest, or I'll be one of their judgy judges.
There you go. Are you really the mean judge?
According to people in San Diego, I evidently am. I'm not really sure why. I think it's just that I'm thorough. You know, I'm the one who will go on their Facebook and trace back as far as I can to find conflicting information, and I'll throw it in a question. And I guess that's what's making me scary, is the fact that I kind of do my homework.
That's true. Definitely got to do your homework when you do a contest. Oh man, I studied all my judges. I knew all of them. It was great. Yes, thank you for being part of the panel, people. Thank you for being here, people that are watching. Sorry, some people are saying bye. Yeah, I judged one event. I judged like a couple weeks after I won my title, or even 2 seconds after I won my title. I was asked to, as I was walking off the stage, if I wanted to judge Boston Bears and Cubs and contests, and I did that, and it was great. It was definitely different. It's different seeing. It's interesting seeing people's contests be different, how they're set up and stuff. So it was interesting, but it was definitely a blast. I definitely want to do more of judging again.
I am a tough judge. I am like a super, super tough. Like tough love. That's like my motto. Like I want to be hard on you, but because I want you to do better. And
right.
And if you think I'm hard, then you're not ready for what's coming ahead of you.
That's my thing too. If you can't handle judge, then how are you going to handle community?
Yeah, community is vicious.
Exactly.
I definitely cried during my interview. I cried. One of the judges made me cry. It was only because like I'm really dyslexic. And it's something I like deal with every day. And somebody asked me something having to do with like current events, and it had to do with like was it politics? It was something, and it was I'm very bad at reading. Like I can't really read articles that are extensive. Like I don't know. My dyslexia is really bad, so I have people read back things to me, and one of the judges took that as like I hear what other people have to say, and I listen to them versus like learning about it for myself or something like that. I don't know. There was something was construed a certain way, and it made me feel really bad as a person. And I was like, no, like my dyslexia just sucks, and I can't comprehend things. And I cried during a couple questions, and it was definitely hard. But I learned from that. But it also showed that I'm human, and that there are things going on in the world that we all go through. And yeah, I don't know. I definitely didn't make anybody cry when I was a judge, but they didn't give me an opportunity to ask questions like that. So maybe one day.
That's on my bucket list, to make someone cry, whether it be good or bad.
No, yeah, the judges definitely like 3 or 4. Yeah, like most of them came up to me after, and like as they were walking out of the room, it was like, it's like, you're fine, it's okay. I felt bad because I couldn't comprehend what they were asking properly, and I didn't know how to make the words happen for myself. And then on top of that, I cried in front of people, and I don't like crying in front of people, so it made me even more vulnerable and upset. So like, but they came up to me and told me it was okay and all that. And I don't know. One of these days, I want to be one of those people to hug them and be like, "It's okay. It just showed you're human. It just showed you you have emotions." I don't know. But I had to ask simple like questions when I was a judge. I want to ask the hard-hitting ones one day.
Well, it's been a pleasure. I'm gonna dip out real quick, just to get the rest of my stuff going for the rest of the day. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm really grateful for you because you created this space to have this dialogue. So I hope that you are very proud of yourself, because I am. And I hope you continue to do more of these in whatever capacity they are.
Yeah, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you helping and messaging back and figuring it all out and all that. So I really appreciate it, and maybe we'll do another thing in the future. So
absolutely. Bye, Tammy. It's been a pleasure seeing you again.
Good to see you again.
Bye.
Bye.
So I really appreciate you. I think it might be time for both of us all, because honestly, I think that I don't know if this is actually my mom that says your mom on it, because it seems like something she definitely do.
No worries. It's time for me to go put on my mom hat and go take care of my teenager. So thank you for letting me be a part of it.
How old are your kids?
Oh, I just have one. She's 15, almost 15. She's 14 and a half.
Power to you. I was a tough one, so I can only imagine.
I'm lucky she's a good kid, but she's been raised in all these different lifestyles and whatnot. So I think that
Is
kind
she
of
gonna be a
helps.
future Goldilocks? Is she gonna be?
You never know. I mean, she's mentioned it in the past, and she's adopted by all these bear uncles. So you never know. I actually had a situation a couple of years ago where she was bullied at school, and it was the bear community that offered to go down to the school and handle it.
There you go. Wow.
It was literally how many bears does little Goldie need? And it's like none, not because I can get about 30 of it. No, thank you, no.
I think that's one of the great things about the community that has taught me was that there are a lot more people that care about me than I thought they were, and I trust me. As soon as I post something, 30 of them will be like, "Oh yeah, you want me to take care of this?" I totally get it. Let alone your kids. So
That's a great community. But again, thank you for doing this, and especially since I knew you were nervous about it, but you did great. If you ever do it again, you need me again, just reach out.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem. It's nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too. Bye.
Bye.
Let's see. And we are out. See. So, I guess this is just goodbye. I really appreciate everybody that stayed and watched. I know there's nobody on here anymore, but it was a great moment, and I really appreciate everybody that has participated, everybody that was on the panel, everybody that was in the audience, and for whoever else is going to watch this after I am done recording it. If you have any questions, any comments, etc., feel free to message me on Facebook. Kylar Maldonado is my personal page, or you can go to Mr. Connecticut Bear 2020 to 21, Kylar Maldonado on Facebook page. So I will be around and love you guys, miss you guys. Hope to hug everybody one day. And yeah, I'm gonna go cuddle with my cat now. But I hope this helped some people. I hope this opened some people's eyes and hearts as to what the bear community is and who we are, and what we do for the community, and how we would like to give back, and how we are constantly searching on trying to find more ways to be present with one another. So yeah, if there's any other questions, if people have anything they want to say, you have ways of contacting me. So I'm done talking to myself. So I hope everybody has a great night. And this is Kylar Maldonado, Mr. Connecticut Bear 2020 to 21, signing out. And have a great Friday night. Bye.